This Glaceon deck is going to be one of your favorite new water-type decks in the current meta if you have an aggressive playstyle. Either Alex Rabbit's gaming with a new deck building video for Pokemon TCG Pocket, or I share with you battle-tested decks so you can have some fun in the Triumphant Light meta. But without further ado, let's jump into today's deck. We got 2 Glaceon EX, 2 Eevees, 2 Golducks, 2 Psyducks, 2 Rocky Helmets, 2 Professor's Research, 1 Pokéball, 2 Misties, 2 Irida, 2 Potions, and 1 Cyrus. The strategy behind this deck is to have a very swift victory with 2 different possibilities on the attack. The first one is using Golduck as a glass cannon or Glaceon as a frostbite deadly machine. And I know Golduck is not the most popular card out there, and I even thought about pairing Glaceon with Greninja while I was planning this deck. But let me explain why I decided to go with Golduck. You're gonna love him in just a minute. But let's start first with Psyduck. This is a great starter that will block your enemy from using any trainer cards by using his basic ability, giving you a little bit of an edge until you evolve him to Golduck, which usually happens pretty fast as this deck has few Pokemon cards. Once you've evolved to Golduck, there's a great offensive power that you unleash at the cost of only 2 energies, dealing a massive 70 damage. This may not sound like too much, but picture this, we're talking about the first turns of the match. Probably your first turn with a little bit of luck on your side if you play a Misty card right. This means that you could put the enemy in a very tight situation early on in the battle, wiping most of the basic Pokemon waiting to be evolved, and even cornering some of the most popular EX cards that are out there right now, like Darkrai, Palkia, or Arceus. And if you're using Rocky Helmet, this gives Golduck an extra 20 damage each turn if he's attacked, for a total of 90 damage. So you're basically putting your enemy in a situation where they have to decide whether they stick with the plan and the Pokemon they were using, or retreat to the bench and reassess their strategy. And while you're creating mayhem with Golduck, it is a perfect opportunity for you to start building up Eevee and Glacier. Eevee is a little bit fragile, but again, we have our trusty Rocky Helmet, and his continuous step attack can also put a fight against some other basic Pokemon. But when it is time to bring Glacier into the fight, things get a little bit more interesting. Glaceon is more of a balance card, unlike Golduck, with more HP but a higher cost of free energies to deal 90 damage. Using the Misty trainer card can help reduce the time for you to attack, but usually 2 Golducks should be more than enough for Glaceon to come in and sweep whatever's left, or to counterattack many of the high HP Pokemon that your enemy should have had on their bench. And when Glaceon is up front, it gets wild. With the Snowy Terrain ability that does 10 extra damage during the Pokemon checkup, this happens twice, this sums a total of 110 damage per turn. And if your enemy counterattacks, you can rely on some great healing using the 2 Irida trainer cards and 2 potions for a whopping 60 HP healing. That can turn the tide of the battle in just a second. And as an insurance, if your opponent plans on benching that Pokemon that's severely damaged, you can bring him back with the Cyrus training card and finish him off. That's all the good stuff about this deck. Now let's talk about the cons. I have to admit that this is a high risk, high reward deck, and sometimes you might find yourself with a bench full of trainer cards. This is a risk that I usually take, given how easily the game usually gives you enough so you can either evolve either Psyduck or Eevee, or find the match you need with a Pokéball or a Professor's Research. But I had to come clean and tell you that it can happen that you end up with a lonely bench. That's the reality of this deck. I experimented by adding 1 Articuno into the mix, and that made my bench feel a little bit more crowded. But as a downside, I had the impression that Articuno competes with Glaceon for those free water energies needed to attack, so that's why I stuck with Golduck, but I leave that for you to decide. Finally, the last major disadvantage that I see right now is that metal decks are pretty popular right now, using Dialga to feed Arceus and Nosepass, so you might be a little bit doomed if these guys pop up, and you might need to play a little bit more cautious, but again, that's what happens when you go against any deck that targets the weakness of your own deck. And that's the Glaceon Golduck combo deck. Please share in the comment section how you guys think it will fit in the current meta. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. I hope you give it a try, and I'll see you later here on the channel for another deck building video. Good luck, trainers, and keep enjoying the game.